Hi, Nathan here. I'm here with Ben. We're at one of our local churches in Norwich. We're here today. We're going to do some comparisons between the new Fuji X-H1 and the older X-T2. Hi, we're here in a church. We're going to try the tracking modes on the two cameras. Fuji claim that there's better tracking on the X-H1. So we're going to set the X-H1 up exactly the same as an X-T2. My lovely assistant here, Ben.
I'm going to be a bride today.
We'll be walking up the aisle and we're just going to have these set on zone tracking. We're going to use 56mm lenses. They're both going to be on f2. At 3200 ISO.
Yeah.
Continuous high.
Yeah, so we're real world test. In the UK, this is the kind of conditions we end up shooting in. Perhaps we'll have some artificial light, but not a lot. This is a typical church wedding. So I'm going to hit down the end of the aisle and do a AF test on a bride walking back. Excuse the frock. Right, let's go.
I'm going to shoot them in portrait orientation. So as soon as Ben's ready, at f2, 3200 ISO, we're getting about 350th of a shutter speed, so should be good. So when you're ready, Ben. Okay, so we've got a few shots off there before the hit the buffer. We're now going to do the same with the X-T2, and we'll see how we get on.
And I think we're going to flip round. Have we got face detect on yet?
Face detect is not on yet.
So we're going to try face detect, see if that's better as well. So we'll try that. And I'm not walking slowly either, because as much as you tell the bride to walk nice and slowly down an aisle, they never do.
So X-T2, same setup. When you're ready.
Let's go.
And there we go. So we've done it without face tracking. We're now going to turn face tracking on. And obviously when we get back to the computer, we can check them images. The face tracking didn't activate, but it's probably because of because you're on continuous and you were walking and we had zone, but we'll see if there's any differences.
Cool.
And there we go, hit the buffer.
And I'm purposely looking left and right because that's what brides do. They want to talk and smile at everybody. So then that again shows probably where face tracking isn't always going to be great, because if your bride looks off, you're going to lose the face to track, aren't you? So yeah, let's go and have a look at these, I suppose.
We'll have a look at these. I think
we'll probably do some IBIS tests in here as well.
I'm thinking
the low light stuff.
I'm thinking 90mm lens. If you've got your bride or groom stood stationary, what sort of shutter speed can we get?
Yeah, cool.
That'll be your turn to do that.
Sounds good.
And I'll be the bride.
Let's turn off.
Okay, so we're now at the computer. We've got the images in from the tracking tests that we did. We're not going to show you every single image because it will be quite boring and it obviously will take quite a bit of time, but we'll just show you a few images. We've actually gone through them and we've marked out or we've counted the good and the bad, and we've given a percentage figure.
I think it's worth saying that this is the whole point of doing this was like a real world test. You know, it's not scientific. We had two different lenses, although they were the same 56mm. There were two different lenses. We weren't using the same lens on each body, so it was kind of like a more of a real world rather than scientific test. That's worth saying now.
Yeah, and we actually found out something quite interesting when we were doing the tests, which we'll explain shortly. But we're starting off with the X-H1 images. These are the images which were on zone tracking. In total, before the buffer kicked in, how many shots did we get?
So with the X-H1, I'm just going to look down here for a second. We done 23 images when we had no face tracking and 23 images for face tracking.
This was my body. I have a slower memory card in mine, which is why the X-H1 only managed a couple of shots less than the X-T2. But anyway, we're working on percentages.
So we got 74% in focus with no face tracking turned on for the X-H1. And that's our red band we've got going along here. Excuse the model, obviously. Fairly grumpy sometimes. I mean, you're not going to see this brilliantly because we're recording this screen, so it's not going to be fantastic. But we've certainly gone through.
Yeah. So this is one of the images that was in focus with the X-H1, obviously at 56mm. Well, we were happy with this image. This was backlit as well, and it managed to track lovely. We've just added a classic chrome. We should have done. Yeah. But that's nice, and I think the overall colours and overall image quality. This is at 3200 ISO.
I mean, I'm really pleased with that at 3200 ISO.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're shooting 1/400th of a second. You could probably go a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And you'd still be fine, I think.
I mean, dynamic range.
It's great. I mean, this has done no editing here.
We've not.
You're gonna blow out.
The window's blown out, but there's no blacks.
No.
Nothing's been blown out in the black, so that's lovely. So that's just an example of that. We'll probably go to one of the end images in that streak. Let's zoom in.
Close my eyes.
1:1. So yeah, lovely shot.
And the hit rate was 74% in focus, 26% out of focus, using just the zone that we had set up. And that's out of 23 images.
Yeah.
We was on continuous high, I think.
Continuous high.
Yeah.
Zone tracking.
Yeah. I mean, to sort of say we used the same batteries, we've got the S's in WP, whatever it is, 126. We've got the S batteries in, so all those type of things are the same. We've already mentioned the difference in memory card, but that's just a buffer issue. So we then done face tracking, or should we do the X-T2's non-face tracked first?
Let's compare. Yeah, this is X-T2 zone focusing with no face tracking.
We've converted all of these to classic chrome, and I had DR settings differently to the X-H1, which is why we've got a different, in exposure. And these were actually a quicker shot, I think.
So
but we're looking more at the tracking, obviously.
I mean, you managed 26 images.
So the X-T2, 26 images. Okay, so in focus for these was 69%, so 5% less, and out of focus was 31%. So not bad. I mean, 5% you could say is, a good couple of images, but out of 26 images of someone walking down the aisle, what do you want? 2? You don't want 2, at least 2, 3 maybe in focus. You may even only want 1, depending on what type of photographer you are.
I mean, if you're getting 3/4 in focus, it's fine, isn't it?
Yeah. But these are the type of images you don't want. You don't want my mug, one for a start, but 2 with eyes closed. So hence you're on continuous high, or at least a buffer going.
I mean, you had auto dynamic range set on your camera, which has caused the images to be a little bit darker. But also we can bring them back.
Yeah, there's plenty to play with, isn't there? So, but I think overall, obviously it has come out being better. The X-H1 has. We had set up the same zonal tracking and all that type of stuff. So a non-scientific test would say the H1's better. In a real world test, we're saying we're getting a better hit rate with the H1 than we was the X-T2.
Yeah, with zone focusing and face detect turned off.
Yeah. So the next test we then done was reset, as you've seen on the video, and us going at crazy miles an hour. Is to then turn face detect on. And this is where it gets interesting, and we kind of alluded to this in the video as well. So the X-H1 with face track on, its in focus was 43% and out of focus was 56%. So it done worse with face track on. And just to quote the X-T2, again it done worse by 48% in focus and 52%. So we're saying the X-H1 done worse on hit rate with face detect on compared to the X-T2. But again, this was real world testing, it wasn't scientific. I wasn't always looking straight down. I was turning my head again as a bride would do. So it just gives that kind of real world test. Perhaps I was looking more straight on with the X-T2 than I was the X-H1. I don't know. But what we've taken out as this is we ain't going to use face detect in this type of scenario.
Not when someone's walking towards you.
No, because of that turning and turning, it was constantly trying to jump and trying to find a face. So for us, we're going to keep zonal and ignore, and mainly use probably the face detect from when we're doing our videos.
I mean, I think maybe the camera's having to overwork itself, deciding whether it's going to use the tracking or the face tracking. You know, the zone tracking or the face tracking, what is a face, and it's just can't keep up with it.
Yeah, so I mean, we're fairly happy to say that the X-T2 did do better in this scenario, but we're also happy to say that we wouldn't use this whether we had an X-T2 or an X-H1.
Yeah.
So if anything, we've learnt out of that we're not going to use this type of scenario, whatever camera we had.
And we go back to the X-T2 images. So these are the X-T2 images on face track. Darker images again because you had a different dynamic range setting, but shutter speed 1/450th of a second. This
slightly sharper.
This is nice and sharp. This one,
or slightly quicker, which again could be why they're slightly sharper. You never know. You never know. We should have possibly done it scientifically at the same shutter speed. You know, there are all the arguments there, but the whole point of this was that we were getting in there. It was supposed to be, you know, this is a wedding scenario. We're running with changing of settings. This is what come out of it. So you could then say that the auto dynamic range has helped here because it's actually given us a faster shutter speed.
So in conclusion, then with tracking, if you're using zone tracking to track moving subjects, this was a simple scenario of the subject coming towards you with no objects to try and avoid.
Yeah.
It beat the X-T2. The X-H1 beat the X-T2.
5%. So, and not huge, no. But you know that could be quite important to a lot of people. So.
And we only did one run.
Yeah,
so
we haven't repeated it. It's not the best of three or anything. Like I say, this was, let's go in here. The church was empty. You know, we utilised what we could, and the reason we've done it there, again, we've explained this, was it's a real world wedding scenario for us in the UK.
And what we found out that is if you have face tracking turned on, and you're trying to track a subject moving towards you with zone focus and switched on as well, it just causes problems and more of the images are out of focus.
So, yeah, I mean, that's our results. They weren't scientific. It was done, as we've said. We did stay there, and we've got a couple more videos coming up about this comparison. We tested the IBIS in that kind of scenario where you want to do an environmental shot. We also shutter sound as well.
We also tested IBIS in the always on mode.
Yeah,
and in the shooting only mode because we wanted to see whether that would,
which was quite interesting.
Yeah,
because that could be a battery saver in the long run. But yeah, subscribe. Keep an eye on our YouTube channel. We're going to try and get them out as quick as we can. And yeah, always comment. I think we're hopefully taking feedback from some people saying about our videos been, you know, we don't need to see all of this, so we tried to speed this one up. You don't need to see all of it. You don't need to see the 80 odd pictures that we took, so the results are there. We're going to put the actual figures on our blog as well, so this one will get blogged, so pop over to our website as well if you want to see those.
Yeah, and like we said, part 2 will be out very shortly.
Yeah, thanks a lot for watching.
Yeah, my name's Nathan
and I'm Ben.
We are the photography team.